Welcome back to Living the Italian Dream with Mike. All right, so today we're going to do renting versus buying, something that some people have been asking me for, and I didn't get around to doing a video last week, so we're going to do this now. All right, so first and foremost, I'm going to go over all the things that you have to consider when you rent, and then I'm going to go over the things that you have to consider when you're buying. All right, so for me, in my opinion, since I've been here, the biggest thing about renting is having flexibility of being able to move around to find exactly the area or the zone that you want to live in. We moved 3 times since we've been here, 6 years, but we've been at this apartment for the last 4 years. This has been the perfect spot for us. An Italian, I guess by the Italian way of thinking, this is a really big apartment. For the American way of thinking, it's probably not so big, 1,200 square feet, 1,250, and about that for 6 people. But anyway, the flexibility with renting is fantastic. To go a little briefly into the rental contracts, your rental contracts, you're going to see these 4+4s or these 4+2s. But basically, the most important thing to understand is that they can't increase the rent at any point during your stay at the apartment. Regardless if the contract expires, you just renew your contract before it expires. As long as you're staying here, they can't increase the rent. Also, consider that almost every apartment comes with a condominium fee. I've seen condominium fees range from $30 to $150 a month. Okay, so again, you make sure you know what your condominium fee is, and usually that fee includes maintenance of the building, cleaning, or twice a month. Like it is here, I think it's twice a month here. So that's pretty much the outside, the bushes, the trimming, all the lawn maintenance if you have grass or shrubs, so on and so forth. As you're looking for apartments, another thing you want to pay attention to is if your heat is centralized or autonomous. Centralized heat you don't control. They divide it up by 12 months and it's added to your rent every month. Autonomo, you control the heat, you get billed by HERA, if HERA is your carrier, your provider for gas, and you pay that every other month because bills tend to come every other month, not monthly. So your gas electric bill will come every other month. Your cable bill will come every other month. Your internet bill will come every other month. Very important to understand and know this. Also, heat, when it's centralized, doesn't come on until October and it won't shut off until April. And remember, you don't have control of the temperature. So we lived in an apartment that was super, super hot. We had to open windows a lot of the time because it was that hot. Also, another thing, you want to make sure that your apartment has a cantina or a mansata. Okay, the cantina is down below for storage. You want to be able to store things. The mansata is upstairs. In this apartment, we have a mansata. In our second apartment, we had a cantina. In our first apartment, we had nothing.
We had a mansata.
Oh, we had a mansata. Okay. Another thing that you're going to notice really quick as you're looking at apartments, there are no closets. In any of our apartments, in any of the apartments that we've looked at, we have never seen any closets in the bedrooms. We've seen some closets for like cleaning supplies, stuff like that. But basically all of your wardrobe are going to be put into armadios that you buy as furniture in wherever you buy your furniture when you're here. Again, I recommend if you buy or if you rent an unfurnished apartment and you furnish it, go with IKEA It's probably the best. You're going to hear people tell you to go to Mondo Convenienza and to Mercatona Uno. Stay away from those places. Really, IKEA is not much more expensive, if not cheaper, and it sort of puts back together when you take it apart better than those other places. So I recommend IKEA here. When you're looking at either buying or renting an apartment, make sure, and this is another big thing, make sure you look at your windows. Make sure you look at your balcony doors, because that will affect your heating bill tremendously during the winter times. In our first apartment, we had super old windows and it was single paned, and our heating bill was through the roof. Our second apartment had all new windows, doors, everything, but because we paid a centralized fee, we never really saw the savings. It was really hot, we had the windows open, but really it was great to have these brand new doors out to the balcony that actually slid all the way open, almost the length of the entire room. It was great. This apartment, we have super old windows and doors out to our balconies. So really our bill tends to creep up there in the winter. Buying. Now to go to buying. And obviously you've seen me, you just heard me speak about renting and how it's great and flexible. Well, it's the opposite for buying. Once you buy something, you're tied down, obviously. You're tied down to one location. You're gonna ride it out because you're not gonna see an increased value on your home here in Italy at this point. You're gonna buy your home for a price, and it's sort of like driving that brand new car off the lot. As soon as you drive it off the lot, the car depreciates in value. The same thing that here in Italy with homes. As soon as you open that door with that brand new key, your house depreciates. You're not gonna get what you paid for it. So you're gonna be forced to ride it out. I've coached, taught, instructed many professionals here in Bologna, and many of them rent their homes. They lease their cars. It gives them the flexibility to move around if they have to. A lot of the older Italian traditions is the passing down of the home. Okay, a lot of grandparents pass their homes down to their children, and so on and so forth. That's still happening, but not so much in a sense, because many of the Italian youth are actually leaving Italy to work elsewhere in Europe. And they calculate this every year, and every year it increases. So these children don't really even want to stay in Italy because they can't find work. So they move out and throughout Europe. To buy, if you're brave enough to buy, you need at least 20% of the purchase price down before you can get a mortgage. You have to have a permanent contract with your employment, or a partita IVA where you could show that you have good enough income for the bank to give you the mortgage, the loan. You're gonna wind up paying about 10,000, and again, depending where you are, 10,000 euro between the notary, the realtor, and your lawyer. A buddy of mine from America who actually was the one responsible for us living in this town. He bought a place about 2 years ago with his wife, and just like in America, you just wouldn't really pay attention to the things that you would assume, like parking spaces. It wasn't clearly stated in the selling contract which space was his. It just said he had a space in the parking area of his apartment building. Well, this turned into an argument with a neighbor who lives upstairs from him. And they go back and forth on whose spot is what. Just little things like that. It could be annoying because now you have an angry neighbor and you're going to see that angry neighbor frequently. So right off the bat, things don't really, get started off in a good way just over a parking spot. Another thing, any home improvement has to be submitted to the Comune, approved by the Comune, and this is done by a contractor that is licensed. He will get all the permits, he will get all the approvals from the Comune if they do approve, because the structure has to match the blueprint of the apartment when you sell. He ran into this problem and he wound up having to pay a penalty for the previous owner's, I don't want to say mistake, his action, his illegal action, because he wound up changing 2 or 3 walls in the apartment to make the kitchen smaller and the living room dining area bigger. Well, the blueprint didn't match the blueprint that the Comune had, so because of that, somebody had to pay a penalty, and it was the buyer's problem, not the seller's. This is true. Another important thing too is if you get or you buy or you buy an apartment on the ground floor, second floor, or third floor, and these are American floors, take the extra precautions, safety precautions, and bar your windows. It's common here. We don't have a lot of violent crime here. What we do have is a lot of property crime. So safeguard yourself with the right bars and get yourself good ones. I had a neighbor about 2 towns, a friend about 2 towns over who had bars on his doors, windows, and he went away on an August holiday, came back, and his house was robbed. Everything was gone. So they get clever, they have good tools, and just go the extra mile if you do buy. Make sure you protect yourself. That's really the pros and cons, or the renting versus buying here. Anything more specific, it varies from town to town. I'm giving you examples from things that I experienced by renting, and then hearing secondhand from a friend who bought. And I never could see myself buying anything in Italy. Really, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years. I don't even think that my children may even stay in Italy once they graduate high school or university. If you're renting or if you're buying and you're used to having a washer and a dryer, okay, make sure you have room for both. In our first, I think, 4 years living here, we hung everything, we dry racked everything because we didn't really think we could have a dryer. They have dryers here that you don't have to vent out windows. And we didn't know that until our 3rd or 4th year here. It's kind of particular. The water goes into a chamber, and you have to empty the chamber after every dry, the filter as usual, but you don't have to vent it out of a window. We have both our washer and dryer in our bathroom. I could try to post a photo of it so you see it on this video and see how it works. But other than that, have a great week, and we'll see you next time at Living the Italian Dream with Mike. Bye. Don't forget to visit thegreenhouseway.com.